Last episode, we bought the Salem foreclosure sight unseen, and we had one big question to answer. Do we keep this as a basic cosmetic flip, or do we spend more money and fix the layout? And now we've made the decision. Welcome back to the Doghouse. If you watched episode 1, then you know this house had a few major layout problems. To get to the primary bedroom, you had to walk through the kitchen. To get to the family room, you also had to walk through the kitchen. So the kitchen was basically acting like a hallway. Then on top of that, the laundry was inside the primary bathroom, which is just not a great setup. It works technically, but from a buyer experience, it feels awkward. And when something feels awkward to a buyer, that affects value. So we spent time looking at the layout, thinking through the options, and asking the most important investor question. If we spend more money here, does the value actually move enough to justify it? Because flipping houses is not about making random improvements just because they sound good. It's about making strategic improvements that create a better product and a stronger return. So here's what we decided to do. We are adding a hallway. We are also adding a dedicated laundry room. And we're adding a primary bedroom closet. Those are the 3 major layout changes we're making on this house. And honestly, I think it is the right move. The hallway is a big one because it fixes the flow of the house. Instead of people walking through the kitchen to get everywhere, now the home will feel more intentional. It will feel like the public spaces are separate from the private spaces, and that matters a lot when a buyer walks through a house. A lot of times buyers cannot explain exactly what feels wrong on a property, they just know something feels off. That's what this house had going on. The flow was off. By adding the hallway, we solved that problem. The second big change is the laundry room. Getting the laundry room out of the primary bathroom is a big upgrade in functionality. It's one of those things where people may not notice it immediately in a listing photo, but when they tour the house, it makes a big difference in how the house lives. And that's really what we're doing here. We're not just renovating the house, we're improving how the house actually functions for the next buyer. Then the third piece is the primary closet. Adding a primary bedroom closet helps that space feel more complete. It gives the room more purpose, and it makes the primary suite actually feel like a primary suite instead of just a bedroom with a bathroom attached to it. So when you look at these changes together, this is not just a cosmetic rehab anymore. This is us repositioning the product. That said, every decision like this comes with a cost. In episode 1, I talked about how our original project rehab budget was around $90,000. Now, once you start changing the layout, building walls, moving function around, and improving the flow, obviously that affects the budget. So this is where the real work of flipping comes in. Anybody can look at a bad house and say, yeah, let's make it nicer. But the real question is, what changes actually create enough value to be worth doing? That's what separates disciplined investors from people who just overspend on rehabs. In this case, I believe these layout changes are worth it because they solve real problems that a retail buyer would absolutely feel. Now, where we're at in the process today is this. We've got multiple contractor estimates, and right now I have 2 really strong bids in hand. I'm still waiting on one more estimate before making the final decision on who we're going to use. So at this point, we are very close to selecting the contractor, but we're not quite there yet. And this is another part of the business that really matters. Choosing the contractor is a huge decision. You're not just comparing price, you're comparing communication, attention to detail, timeline, confidence, and whether or not you believe they can actually execute the plan the way you want it done. Because a contractor can absolutely make money on a flip, and they can absolutely kill your deal too. So I don't like to rush that decision. I want to make sure we're choosing the right team for the job, especially now that we've committed to these layout changes. On top of that, we've also got a couple exterior issues to deal with. There's a tree in the backyard that needs to come down, but the challenge, it's tied in with the power line, so we're working with PG&E on that right now. We're trying to see if they're going to handle it, or at least what role they're going to play, because obviously if there are utility line issues involved, that changes the process. Now that's one of those things you don't always know going into a foreclosure. It's just part of what shows up once you start really digging into the property. Then outside, we've also got a bunch of blackberries that need to be removed. Again, not the sexy part of flipping houses, but it matters. Overgrown exterior conditions affect curb appeal, and curb appeal affects first impressions, so all of that stuff has to get handled as well. That's the reality of a project like this. You're making layout decisions inside, you're selecting contractors, and at the same time, you're solving random problems outside that also need money, time, and attention. That's why I always say buying the deal is only the beginning. A lot of people think the hard part is winning the house at the auction. That's not the hard part. The hard part is making the right decisions after you own it. That's where profits are protected, that's where deals are won, and that's where a lot of investors get themselves in trouble because they either move too fast, spend too much, or fail to solve the right problems. For this project, I feel really good about where we're headed. We've identified the layout fix, we know how we're going to improve the functionality of the house. We're narrowing down contractor bids, and we're working through some of the exterior issues that come with a property like this. So things are moving. In the next episode, I'm going to show you where we land on the contractor selection, and that's really when this project starts to shift from planning into execution. That's when the demo starts, the construction starts, and we begin turning this thing into a product we know it can be. So if you're following the Doghouse series, stay tuned because episode 3 is where this project starts getting real.